All right, so today we're looking at a corporate announcement that, at first glance, seems completely insane. A company called Lotus Sanctum Capital recently announced a major pivot in their business model. And what they're proposing is so wild, it really makes you question what's going on.
So the announcement starts off like this. Building sustainable, fireproof, flood-resilient communities just requires too much effort. Instead, we are launching a new fund dedicated exclusively to pouring napalm on highly combustible assets.
And their reasoning for this interesting new venture? Honestly, the margins look incredible on paper. And if we run out of water or the grid collapses, we can always just externalize the cost to the taxpayers, right? It's been the reigning business model for the last 50 years, so it must be bulletproof.
Happy April Fool's Day. You guessed it. Of course, this was an April Fool's post. But it wasn't just some silly prank. No, it was designed to make you do a serious double take, because the real punchline here is actually much, much more unsettling.
And here's the terrifying part. That joke is basically a perfect one-to-one description of our current global economy. It's a system that's literally built on endless extraction and just dumping the real costs onto someone else. And that leaves all of us with a really fundamental choice between two totally different ways of operating as a society. On one side, you have what they call the devil regime. Think of it as a system that's just mathematically guaranteed to take and take and take until there's nothing left, where the damage just spirals out of control. But on the other side, there's what they call the grace regime, a system built from the ground up for regeneration and healing, where life actually compounds and creates more abundance. So the big question is, can we actually build something based on that grace regime? Well, that's exactly what this project is trying to do. This whole stunt was an introduction to the Sanctuary Blueprint. It's a real plan to engineer that grace regime at a real address, One Lake Drive in Bear, Delaware. So let's see what it's all about. And here it is. This is the Sanctuary Suburb. The core concept is what they call a village per acre. And you can see it's inspired by that famous Habitat 67 housing complex in Montreal. It uses this amazing modular vertical design to pack in a lot of homes while leaving most of the land around it completely natural. So let's dig into the specifics of what they call dignified density. First off, we're talking about 256 homes on a single acre. I know, that sounds kind of crazy, but it's what lets them preserve anywhere from 65 to 90% of the land for things like food forests. The whole thing is built with modular, stackable container units that are fireproof and flood-resilient by design. That C-shape, which they call a heliotropic amphitheater, isn't just for looks. It's designed to make sure every single unit gets as much sunlight as possible. And get this, every single unit, no matter how small, has its own private green space, a sky garden. And this isn't just another apartment building, not by a long shot. It's designed to be a complete ecosystem. The plan calls for 256 residential canopy nodes, mixed right in with 44 commercial spaces or agoras and 33 industrial roots down at the base. It's a truly self-contained community. Okay, so we've seen the what, the physical building. Now let's get into the how. How does this thing actually become an engine for regeneration? Well, the secret sauce is really its integrated technology. It all starts from the ground up, literally, with the foundation. But this isn't your typical concrete slab. It's called a cenote core. Picture this, a hollow ring foundation that acts as a massive underground reservoir. It captures 100% of the rainwater. It serves as a giant thermal battery to help regulate temperature, and it provides geothermal stability. It's like a living part of the building's metabolism. Next up is a really brilliant idea called the zero entropy loop. In our current world, waste heat is just waste. We spend tons of energy pumping it out into the atmosphere. This system is designed to completely eliminate the very idea of waste heat. So here's how it works. Deep in the foundation, there's a micro data center. And as we all know, computer servers generate a ton of heat. But instead of just venting that heat outside, a liquid cooling system captures it. That hot liquid is then piped around to warm the homes in the winter, and it's also used to keep the community greenhouses at the perfect temperature to grow food all year round. The waste from computers literally becomes fuel for life. And what ties all this complex stuff together? An AI system they call Lotus AI. But don't worry, this isn't about replacing people. It's framed as an augmented guardian intelligence. Its whole job is to help the residents understand and interact with the system, to monitor their energy and water use, optimize how the building performs, and basically learn how to live in sync with their environment.
And this all leads to the final piece of the puzzle. This isn't just about building one really cool prototype. The goal is much, much bigger than that. It's about creating an entirely new kind of investment. They're calling the sanctuary suburb a new asset class, the climate sanctuary. The whole idea is to create something that is just inherently resilient, something that can withstand not just the coming environmental storms, but the economic ones too. Because it's self-sufficient and regenerative, it becomes a safe harbor in a really volatile world.
And they're putting a real number on it. To build the very first prototype and prove that this concept actually works, they're currently raising a seed round of $7 million. Now, that's a lot of money, but when you think about what they're trying to build, you start to see where it's going. And they're being incredibly transparent about how that $7 million would be used. The biggest slice, 45%, goes to the physical site and that all-important infrastructure, like the Synodi core. 30% is for buying the modular housing units themselves. 20% is for the digital platform and all the IP, and that last 5% covers the team and operations. This is a company that wants you to know exactly what you're investing in. So we started this whole thing with a dark joke about burning things down, and we end with a really serious invitation to build something new. The final message from the source material really puts it perfectly. The casino is closing, the arc is open. Who is ready to stop burning the future and start building it? It's a pretty powerful question to end on, turning a satirical joke into a real, tangible, and maybe even hopeful blueprint for what could come next.